What's up, everybody? Joshua and Roth here with some exciting news. Our spider sense has been tingling for weeks, and now we finally have our Spider-Man. He's been cast. It is Tom Holland, and we have our Spider-Man director. It is John Watts. Yep. But here's the thing. I have no idea who those people are. So, Roth, tell me, what do I think about this news?
You feel pretty good about it. I think you're probably not alone. Yeah, it was like red alert around here. Woo, 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 Spider-Man cast. Everybody hit the deck now.
And I'm like, who?
So for a while we had thought it was Asa Butterfield, who probably yourself, myself, and a lot of people would be a little bit more familiar with. Tom Holland is a British actor. He's a young British actor. He's 19. He looks like he's about 16 to me. So they are, in fact, going with a very young Spider-Man, as we knew that they would.
Yeah, they said that they're going for high school Spider-Man, so that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a movie that he was in called The Impossible that people might have seen. I saw him in that film, and he was quite good.
Okay.
He's done Billy Elliot on the stage. He was in a British series called Wolf Hall. He did In the Heart of the Sea, which is coming up. It's interesting because one of the big things that we've talked about is the idea that Kevin Feige has emphasized heavily that he really wants to bring a comedic element into this. Mm-hmm. Now, The Impossible is a dramatic movie, so that's what I've seen him in.
Not a barrel of laughs.
Not a barrel of laughs. But I have to imagine with Billy Elliot that he sort of had some of that happening, had a comedic flair. His dad's a comedian and an author, so maybe it's in the genes.
Okay. And he looks like Spider-Man to me.
Sure.
Who is just, a young, skinny white guy.
Yeah.
And when they had all the potential Spider-Mans.
He looks like a young, skinny white guy.
When they had all the potential Spider-Mans, I remember he popped out as the one who I feel like he was kind of a nerd who could. If anyone had to be picked on at school, I would pick him, which is what Peter Parker is.
Would you pick on him? That's terrible.
I would not. I'm not a bully. I think bullying is a horrible thing that people should not do. But when Andrew Garfield was cast, and even in the movie, he was saving other nerds from being picked on.
Right.
And he was too good looking, and I was like, nah, he's got to be one of us.
Yeah. So you feel like he, from just having seen the image of him, you feel like he could be a good Peter Parker. Do you have any sense could he be a good Spider-Man?
I haven't seen him do any flips yet.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'm sure he can dance if he was in Billy Elliot, so he's got some physicality to it.
The Billy Elliot thing gives me a lot of confidence because if you have a stage presence, you've got a lot of stuff that you can do, and you're very aware of your body, and so I think that's a good element to have if you're Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be able to move, and I mean that also gives us some hope that maybe he'll actually get in the suit, because I think Garfield got in the suit quite a bit, but my understanding is that Tobey Maguire really didn't. So he's a bit claustrophobic, so maybe he'll get in the suit and Spider-Man around.
That would be cool. I
bit.
can't wait to see the suit. I imagine it'll be very traditional, because when they kind of mucked with it in Amazing Spider-Man, people were like, it looks like a Nike sneaker.
The suit, I think when we'll get an actual look at the suit, could be Comic-Con, and they're not going to be there. Now, Marvel's not going to Comic-Con, they're not doing panels, but they will have a booth. And you think it's possible we might get an image at that booth of him, or at least the suit?
I could see that, because they put I remember they put an Ultron drone out there.
I mean, they must have done tests with him in the suit.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would imagine. After what they're doing,
Joshua?
What have they been doing all these weeks if not seeing what he looks like as Spider-Man? I don't know. Okay, so that's Tom Holland. So let's talk about the director, John Watts. So again, I have no idea who that is. Have you seen anything as his? Do you know any of his work?
Watts did a movie called Clown, but he also did a thriller called Cop Car coming out of Sundance this year, starring Kevin Bacon. And that was very well received. But he also worked on the Onion News Network TV series.
I love the Onion.
Right?
Okay.
And so that's kind of interesting to me because I was like, Cop Car and Clown, it's an interesting direction to go, again, because they're looking for comedy, but if he's also got this comedic background, that's kind of interesting to me. To me, that says that he can cross genres, that he can bring in multiple tones. I think that's exactly what you need for this kind of a movie. Notably, Marvel is going after sort of up-and-coming directors, whether they're out of TV, a lot of them out of TV, actually, or just worked on smaller films, or are at that point in their career that they could use a big uptick. But it's interesting because with the last Spider-Man series that Sony did, they went with Mark Webb.
And he's sort of the same thing, right?
Yeah, he had been an indie director who did 500 Days of Summer, and then he went and he did this series. So I don't know. I mean, there's part of me that's that's obviously been very successful in many different cases. Didn't work out so well with Josh Trank in Fantastic Four more recently. Totally different studio, I know. But yeah, there was something about that. There were other directors that had sort of a more notable body of work. There were bigger names, more established already, but there must have been something about his pitch that really worked for them. When are we going to see him first?
Yeah.
So what they've announced is that this is the actor for the Spider-Man reboot, but we're going to see him before that. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, they said that in the press release when they first announced that.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, Marvel and Sony are now sharing Spider-Man, so Spider-Man can appear in the movies alongside the Avengers and Captain America and everyone else. We're expecting to see Spider-Man in Captain America: Civil War.
He's going to be in Civil War,
which is next year.
I mean, because it's the thing is, like, sure, could he be in Doctor Strange? Yeah, I mean, legally, yes. But he's going to be in Civil War because that's the story that Spider-Man belongs in. It's the story that makes sense for him to be in. And I really think that that's sort of one of the things that propelled them to make this deal. Other than Marvel just wants Spider-Man. They just want to be able to have Spider-Man in their films as well.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty exciting news. It's hard to sort of get overly enthusiastic with the limited amount that I know either of their work. I know a little bit, but not so much that I'm like, yes. How do you feel?
Do
you trust Marvel? Do you trust Sony to have made the right choices?
I think with Marvel there, I feel a lot better than I would if they just cast another Spider-Man with just Sony, so it's not really a lot to go on. Yeah. You've made me feel a lot better about this decision because you've educated me and told me what to think about these names who I don't know.
This is how you feel. You feel pretty good.
But I'm sure like the Netflix numbers for The Impossible and for Cop Car are going to like skyrocket.
Oh yeah,
this week.
Suddenly there's going to be a massive amount of interest in their body of work.
Yeah,
sure.
As we go and so what are your final words on the new Spider-Man and the new director?
I do trust Marvel. I really do. I trust Kevin Feige. He is the person that has been most heavily from the Marvel side, I believe, involved in this process, in this decision, because he's the most heavily involved in the creative decisions, period, across Marvel. And I do trust him. I trust that if they went with these two people, there is a reason and they trust that they can pay off. Now, again, Marvel will not be working with Watts as a director. That's a Sony film. But still, they're invested in this character working. So yes, I do.
Yeah, and they're co-producing, right? Is that right? That Marvel's like producing like on a creative advisory role? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so there it is. Those are our thoughts on the new Spider-Man. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And for all things Spider-Man, keep it right here on IGN.